3, 2, 1.
Deep within the heart of Egypt, along the fertile banks of the Nile, stands a place of profound mystery. The Temple of Hathor at Dendera is a monument to the gods, a library of stone built to honor the cosmos. Its walls are covered in stories, intricate carvings that speak of creation, life, and the great beyond. For centuries, these images have told the tales of a civilization that understood the universe in ways we are still trying to grasp. But hidden away, in a dark, subterranean crypt beneath the main temple, lies a carving that seems to whisper a different kind of story. This is a place few were meant to see, a sacred chamber where secrets were kept safe from the passage of time. Down in the cool, silent darkness of these underground rooms, the air itself feels ancient. The stone walls are covered with reliefs of pharaohs making offerings to the gods. But among these familiar scenes is something truly extraordinary, something that has puzzled scholars and ignited the imaginations of millions. It is an image that seems to defy easy explanation. We call it the Dendera Lamp. It is a depiction so strange, so out of place, that it challenges our very understanding of what the ancient Egyptians knew and what they were capable of. Was this just another story of the gods, or was it something more? A forgotten secret, a hint of lost knowledge waiting for us to rediscover it. The journey to understand such a mystery begins with a single question: what did they know? The ancient Egyptians were masters of engineering, astronomy, and medicine. They built pyramids that touched the sky and tombs that preserved their kings for eternity. Their knowledge was vast, much of it passed down through generations of priests who guarded these sacred truths. The crypts at Dendera were likely the most secret part of the temple, a place where the most profound rituals were performed. The images carved here were not for public eyes, they were for the initiated, for those who held the deepest understanding of their faith and the universe. So, when we look upon the Dendera Lamp, we are not just looking at a carving. We are looking into the heart of a belief system, into a world of immense complexity and wonder. We are asking ourselves if there are chapters of human history that have been lost, pages torn from our collective story. The temple stands today, a silent witness to the passage of millennia, and on its hidden walls it holds a riddle that invites us to look closer, to question what we think we know, and to consider the possibility that our ancestors were far more advanced than we have ever imagined. The story of the Dendera Lamp is our story, a quest to understand who we are and where we come from. So, what is it that we see on these ancient walls? What is this image that has caused so much debate? The relief itself is large and detailed, stretching across the stone panel. It shows several human figures, seemingly engaged in a sacred ritual. At the center of the scene is a large, transparent, bulb-like object. It is elongated with a wavy line like a serpent coiled inside. This bulb seems to rest on a stand, which modern eyes might see as an insulator or a socket. It's a striking and peculiar image, unlike anything else we typically associate with ancient Egyptian art. The shape is so specific, so technical in its appearance, that it immediately sparks curiosity. Let's look even closer at the details. The bulb points towards the heavens, and the snake inside it emerges from a lotus flower. This lotus flower is a powerful symbol in Egyptian mythology, representing creation and rebirth. At the base of the entire structure, what appears to be a cable or a cord stretches away from the object. This cord connects to a box-like object, upon which sits a figure of the air god Shu. Another figure, holding two knives, sits near the base, a gesture often interpreted as a sign of protection. The entire scene is supported by a jed pillar, a symbol of stability and the backbone of the god Osiris. Every element seems carefully placed, full of meaning. The mystery deepens when we consider the context. These carvings are located in long, narrow crypts that have no windows and show no signs of soot on the ceiling. This has led many to wonder how these underground chambers were illuminated. The ancient Egyptians used oil lamps, of course, but those would have left behind a residue of smoke and soot, which is absent here. This lack of evidence for traditional lighting has fueled the idea that perhaps the Egyptians had another way to see in the dark. Could the very image on the wall be a clue? Could it be a diagram of the device they used to light these sacred spaces? The image is so compelling because it seems to speak two languages at once. On one hand, it is filled with recognizable Egyptian symbols, the lotus, the serpent, the jed pillar. It is deeply rooted in their mythology. On the other hand, if you strip away the symbolic context, the technical resemblance to a modern electrical device is uncanny. A large glass bulb, a filament inside, a socket, and a power source. It is this duality that makes the Dendera lamp so endlessly fascinating. It sits on the edge of what we know, a bridge between two worlds, the world of myth and the world of science. For most Egyptologists and historians, the answer to this riddle lies not in technology but in the rich tapestry of Egyptian mythology. They see the Dendera lamp not as a blueprint for a machine, but as a powerful visual story of creation. In this interpretation, the scene is a sophisticated allegory. The large bulb-like shape does not represent a glass tube, but the protective bubble of the primordial waters from which all life emerged. It is the womb of the cosmos, the sacred space where the world was born. This interpretation connects the image directly to the core beliefs of the ancient Egyptians about how everything came to be. The serpent inside the bulb is not a filament, but a representation of the god Harsomtus, a form of the sun god Horus. The snake is a symbol of fertility and rising energy. In this story, Harsomtus is born from a lotus flower, a classic Egyptian image of creation. The lotus rises from the murky depths, and as its petals open, the sun god emerges, bringing light and life to the world. The entire scene therefore depicts the first sunrise, the moment of creation itself. The so-called cable is not a wire, but the celestial barge that carries the sun god across the sky. The jed pillar supporting it all is the symbol of Osiris, representing the stability of the universe. This mythological explanation is elegant and consistent with thousands of other carvings found throughout Egypt. Every element in the relief can be accounted for using the well-understood language of Egyptian symbolism. The figures surrounding the central image are not engineers, but gods and priests participating in this cosmic drama. The protective figure with knives is there to ward off the enemies of the sun, the forces of darkness that threaten creation. The box at the base is not a generator, but a representation of the heavens or the earth, the foundation upon which this divine event unfolds. It is a story we have seen told in many different ways across Egypt. Therefore, from this perspective, the Dendera lamp is not a mystery of lost technology, but a testament to the depth of Egyptian spiritual thought. It is a prayer in stone, a celebration of the daily miracle of sunrise and the eternal cycle of life, death, and rebirth. It reminds us that the Egyptians saw the universe as a divine play, and their art was a way of participating in that sacred performance. The carvings in the Dendera crypts were meant to magically sustain the process of creation, ensuring that the sun would continue to rise each day. It is a beautiful and profound interpretation, rooted entirely in the world as the Egyptians saw it. But what if there is another way to see this? What if the image is exactly what it looks like to our modern eyes? This is the heart of the alternative theory, one that has captured the imagination of people all around the world. This theory proposes that the Dendera carving is not a myth, but a schematic, a diagram of a real working electrical device, an ancient light bulb. Proponents of this idea, often called ancient astronaut theorists or alternative historians, suggest that our ancestors possessed a level of technological sophistication that has been lost to history. They believe the Egyptians had discovered the secrets of electricity. Let's break down their argument. They see the large, clear object as a glass bulb, skillfully crafted. The snake inside is the filament, which would glow when an electrical current passed through it. The lotus flower at the base is not just a flower, but an elegant socket holding the filament in place. The jed pillar, with its stacked insulator-like shape, is seen as a high-voltage generator or insulator, providing the necessary electrical stability. And the cable leading to the box is exactly that, a power cord connecting the lamp to its energy source, the box itself being a generator or battery pack. It is a stunningly literal interpretation of the image. This theory gains strength from the context of where the carving was found, in a dark, sealed crypt with no soot on the ceilings. How did the artists work in complete darkness? The ancient technology theory provides a simple and compelling answer. They used these very lamps to light their way. This would explain the lack of smoke residue and the need for such a device in the windowless chambers deep beneath the temple. The idea is that the priests of Dendera were not just keepers of spiritual secrets, but also scientific ones. They were guardians of a forgotten technology, a sacred light that was hidden from the common people. Engineers have even built working models based on the Dendera reliefs. They have constructed large-scale plasma bulbs that look remarkably similar to the carvings, and function by passing a low-pressure gas through an electrical field. While these experiments do not prove that the Egyptians had such devices, they do show that the design depicted on the wall is scientifically plausible. It raises a tantalizing question. Could the Egyptians have stumbled upon the principles of electricity long before Tesla or Edison? This theory challenges us to reconsider the boundaries of ancient knowledge, and to wonder if there are technological secrets still buried beneath the sands of time. The Dendera lamp does not exist in a vacuum. It is part of a larger collection of ancient artifacts that seem to hint at a forgotten chapter in the story of technology. Perhaps the most famous of these is the Baghdad battery. Discovered in the 1930s near modern-day Baghdad, this small clay pot, dating back about 2,000 years, contains a copper cylinder and an iron rod. When filled with an acidic liquid like vinegar or grape juice, this simple device can generate a small but steady electrical current. Was it a battery? And if so, what was it used for? Some suggest it was used for electroplating gold onto silver, while others wonder if it was part of a larger, unknown electrical system. Like the Dendera lamp, the Baghdad battery sits at the crossroads of interpretation. Mainstream archaeologists often argue that its electrical properties are purely coincidental. They suggest it was simply a storage vessel for sacred scrolls, with the metals providing no special function. Yet the possibility that it was a true galvanic cell remains. It shows that the basic components for creating electricity were available in the ancient world. It makes the idea of a more advanced electrical device, like the Dendera lamp, seem just a little less far-fetched. It is another piece of the puzzle, another echo of knowledge that we might have lost. These are not the only examples. We have the Antikythera mechanism, an astonishingly complex astronomical calculator discovered in a Roman-era shipwreck. This device, with its intricate system of bronze gears, could predict lunar and solar eclipses and track the movements of the planets. For a long time, its complexity was considered impossible for the ancient world. It forced us to completely re-evaluate the technological capabilities of the Greeks. It proved that ancient peoples could create precision machinery that we once thought was a modern invention. The Antikythera mechanism is a clear-cut case of technology that was far ahead of its time. When we place the Dendera lamp alongside the Baghdad battery and the Antikythera mechanism, a pattern begins to emerge. It is a pattern of anomalies, of objects and ideas that do not quite fit our neat timelines of human progress. These artifacts challenge the idea that history is a simple, linear march from primitive to advanced. Instead, they suggest that knowledge can be gained and then lost, that civilizations can rise to great heights of understanding and then fall, taking their secrets with them. The Dendera lamp then becomes more than just a strange carving. It becomes a symbol of this lost potential, a question mark hanging over our entire history. Generations after its rediscovery, the Dendera lamp continues to fascinate us. Why does this single image hold such power over our imagination? I believe it is because it touches upon some of our deepest human curiosities. We are a species that looks to the past to understand our present and to dream about our future. The lamp is a mirror. In it, we see our own technological society reflected in the distant past. The thought that our ancestors might have harnessed the power of electricity is both humbling and inspiring. It connects us to them in a way that stories of gods and pharaohs sometimes cannot. The debate itself is part of the appeal. On one side, we have the careful, evidence-based approach of mainstream science and Egyptology, which builds its case on a deep understanding of myth and culture. On the other, we have the bold, imaginative leap of alternative thinkers who are willing to ask, what if? This tension between the known and the unknown, between established fact and radical possibility, is incredibly compelling. It is the same dynamic that drives all great exploration and discovery. The Dendera Lamp is a perfect battleground for these two ways of thinking, and we are drawn to the spectacle of the debate. Furthermore, the mystery of the lamp speaks to a feeling that many of us share, a sense that there is more to the world than meets the eye. In our modern, rational world, we are often told that all the great secrets have been uncovered, but artifacts like the Dendera Lamp remind us that this is not true. They suggest that the universe is still full of wonder, that history is still full of secrets, and that there are profound truths waiting to be found. This idea is deeply hopeful. It tells us that the age of discovery is not over. There are still mysteries to solve, both in the far reaches of space and in the hidden chambers of our own past. Ultimately, we are drawn to the Dendera Lamp because it is a story about potential. It represents the potential of the human mind to achieve incredible things, whether that potential is expressed through the creation of a sophisticated mythology or the invention of a revolutionary technology is, in some ways, secondary. The image itself is a monument to human ingenuity. It shows us a culture that was deeply engaged with the biggest questions of existence. Where do we come from? How does the world work? And what is our place in the cosmos? As long as we continue to ask those same questions, we will continue to look to the Dendera Lamp for answers. So, what does the Dendera Lamp mean for us today? Is it a myth or is it a machine? Perhaps the most important answer is that we still do not know for sure, and that uncertainty is a gift. It forces us to keep an open mind. It reminds us that history is not a closed book, but an ongoing conversation. We must be willing to listen to all the voices in that conversation, from the cautious scholar to the daring visionary. True understanding is found not in choosing one side, but in appreciating the value of both perspectives. The symbolic interpretation gives us a window into the soul of ancient Egypt, while the technological theory pushes us to expand our idea of what is possible. The Dendera Lamp, along with other mysteries like it, serves as a crucial check on our own arrogance. It is easy for us, in our age of smartphones and space travel, to look back on the past with a sense of superiority. We think we have all the answers. But these artifacts challenge that assumption. They suggest that wisdom and knowledge can take many forms, and that ancient cultures may have understood certain things about the universe that we have forgotten. They encourage a sense of humility, a recognition that we are part of a much longer, more complex story than we realize. The quest to understand the Dendera Lamp is far from over. Future discoveries may one day give us a definitive answer. Perhaps a new text will be unearthed that explains the image in detail. Or perhaps an archaeological find will reveal undeniable proof of ancient electrical devices. Until then, the mystery remains, and that is what makes it so powerful. It is a puzzle that invites each of us to become a detective, to weigh the evidence, to examine the symbols, and to come to our own conclusions. It is an active, living piece of history that continues to engage us in the present moment. In the end, the true meaning of the Dendera Lamp may not lie in what it was, but in what it inspires us to become. It inspires us to be curious, to question, to imagine, and to never stop searching for the truth. It reminds us that our human story is a grand and mysterious epic, with many chapters yet to be written. The whispers from the walls of Dendera are still calling to us, asking us to look deeper, to think bigger, and to wonder about the incredible unfolding mystery of our shared past. The light from that ancient carving, whether symbolic or real, continues to illuminate the path of our own journey of discovery.